So, if you're watching this video right now, hello. Before I get started, I would advise everyone to watch the first video that I made about a year ago. I think that this video will make so much more sense if you have, and it'll tie into everything that is going on. And if you've already watched the first video, then you're pretty much caught up in a sense. This video that I'm making today is more just to update everyone and to kind of let people know what's going on. I really want to emphasize that this is not a sympathy video at all. I'm making this to share my story and to share what's going on in my life. I'm making this because I think it will personally help me. I think it's important to preface that because I think people could look at this as a sympathy video, and that's not what I want at all. So let's get started. Just as a recap, I'm gonna start by talking about just kind of the basics of everything I went through last year. My journey began on August 1st of 2018 when I was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma. I underwent 3 months of chemotherapy treatment, and then I had a tumor removal surgery in my right femur, and now I have a metal rod, which is kind of cool when you think about it. Some days it's a pain in the ass. But then after that, I had 6 more months post chemo just to make sure that everything was gone. I had a bone tumor, so my doctors wanted to make sure that there would just be no chance of any cancer cells left over. And then I finished my chemo treatments on May 29th of 2019, which was one of the best days of my life. Then it was summer and I graduated high school. Somehow I managed to finish my senior year, even when I was going through everything that was going on. I cannot stress enough how much this summer was just everything to me. It was so much fun. It was the first time I was able to just run free and just go wild since I had been diagnosed. So that's exactly what I did. I, was just doing this and doing that and just nonstop, always going, grad parties, Red Rocks concerts, traveling, just everything. And it was so much fun. Then obviously summer comes to an end and it was time for me to go to school. I started my freshman year at Gonzaga University in Spokane, Washington. I was very nervous going into it. I didn't know anyone going to that school. I honestly was just excited for something new. I wanted something that was different from Colorado, but similar as far as the weather and the people, and I wanted a smaller school, so I knew, that was gonna be the school that was best for me, that fit me best, and I was going in as a biology major, so I wanted all the help I could get, and a small school was gonna give me that. I started freshman year, and it was a little rocky. I think it's hard for anyone. Freshman year of college is just a transition period. I mean, everyone is leaving their family, everyone is adjusting to classes and the classwork and professors, and no matter how easy it is and how people might make it look on social media, they're having so much fun and nothing's going wrong. I think that's not true. I think freshman year, first semester can be hard, even though people don't like to admit it. I also think I just got tied up with the wrong people. Nothing against them. I just think that they couldn't be there for me and what I needed for my support. This was the first time I was kind of going out and meeting people that had no idea what I had just gone through. And I mean, I wanted that. I chose to do that. I chose to go away. I chose to be around people who treated me like a normal kid. But at the same time, I wanted to be able to rely on my close friends and tell them everything that was going on. And the people I was hanging out with just couldn't match the support level that I needed. On top of that, during finals, I was going through an intense amount of pain in my right femur, which is where I had the tumor in the first place. I wasn't quite sure what was going on. I thought maybe I just pulled a muscle, I was playing volleyball, I was working out, I was walking everywhere to all my classes, so I figured it was just something muscular, but it never got better. So during finals, I just couldn't bear the pain, so I was prescribed a bunch of pain meds, and the plan was to go home over Christmas break and get an x-ray to see what was going on exactly. So that's what happened. I went home, got a couple x-rays, nothing showed up, but I knew in my heart that something was wrong. So I pushed and pushed for an MRI, and eventually my doctors ordered one. As I suspected, a bunch of swelling showed up on the MRI, and ultimately it caused my doctors to freak out. They thought that from the amount of swelling, it was either a relapse or infection. So that wasn't good, and I went in to get a needle biopsy to see if it was relapse or infection. For those of you who don't know, a needle biopsy is basically a procedure. They put you under and they go in with a really tiny needle into your bone to get it's a really small sample of bone, which they can send to pathologists to be tested for anything really, but in my case, we were testing relapse and infection. Both of those came back negative, which was a relief, but that meant that something else was still going on. That led my doctor to think that I had a stress fracture. In my head, it made sense, I hadn't been doing anything my senior year of high school. I was laid up in a hospital bed. I wasn't doing any physical activity, and then shift to freshman year of college, and I'm walking everywhere, at least 2 miles every day, and I'm working out, I'm playing volleyball. I was terrified freshman 15, so I was doing everything that I could just to stay active and, try and live a normal life. I was ordered to go back on crutches and to stay on crutches for a month to see if the stress fracture could heal. When I went back second semester, the people that I thought were my friends just kind of stopped talking to me, and I couldn't tell you why. It's hard to say that, it's embarrassing to say that, but it's true. I didn't do anything wrong, but for some reason I was iced out, and that was really hard, especially because I was coming back on crutches, and the people that I had just spent first semester with just stopped talking to me. I mean, I didn't have my family there. I was all alone, and I needed their support, and I didn't have it. And that was something that was really hard to kind of get through, and I kind of had to manage to, move past it and try and, find people who could be there for me. And luckily I did. I met a great group of people, and they are just amazing. They are just fantastic, and they treat me how friends are supposed to be treated. They're supportive, they understand my situation, they are just the best. And I was so happy that I was able to go back and find that. So I went back to school after Christmas break and crutched around for 30 days, which was no fun. Crutching around on campus sucks, as you can imagine. Luckily, my school's small. I don't go to a huge state school, so I was able to manage, and I made it to the 30-day mark, and I went home to get another MRI to see if the swelling had got down and to see if I could go off crutches. The MRI results showed that the swelling didn't get any better, basically. So that told my doctors that it wasn't a stress fracture and that something else was going on. If it was a stress fracture, the swelling would have gone down. I, would have felt less pain and everything would have been better, but that wasn't the case. Then our next step was to get a PET scan over spring break. Timing of everything was kind of weird because I wasn't in Colorado. My doctors are in Colorado. I'm at school in Spokane in Washington. So I had to kind of work around my school schedule because I didn't want to come home. I didn't want to leave school. So I was trying to work around everything and trying to, figure out when I was going to come home so I could get more tests done and all that sort of stuff. So the plan was to go back over spring break and get a PET scan, which basically images your entire body. You get injected with a type of glucose, and the glucose travels where your body needs it, which can be sites of injury, for example. So that was pretty much going to tell us, where we were looking at. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to spring break. The pain was getting so much worse. I was on so many painkillers that I was drowsy and sleeping and forgetful and couldn't make it to any of my classes, and it was just time for me to come home. So I ended up coming home about a week and a half before spring break. So I was able to get the PET scan earlier. As I suspected, the PET scan just lit up right kind of in my upper right femur, kind of towards my pelvic area. The next plan was to do an open biopsy, which is different than the needle biopsy. Open biopsy is when they put you under again, but they actually go in and cut and make an incision so that way they can get a bigger bone sample. My doctor got a big enough bone sample so that way they could send it to the pathologist to be tested for who knows what. At this point, we had no answers. We had been waiting and waiting since November, and I feel like every test we had done up until this point just gave us no conclusive results. On Wednesday of this week, so on March 11th, I went in and met with my doctor to get the results. Unfortunately, the cancer has relapsed. So yeah, not the best news at all. I'm just heartbroken. I'm just in awe. I don't even know what to do or what to say. I just cancer was my life all of last year, And when I finished treatment, I was so happy, I was so relieved, and I'm so confused and just so frustrated that this is happening again. I mean, I don't want it to happen again. I feel like I have done everything right. I feel like, I've been a good person and I have paid my dues. I mean, all of last year I was just sick in the hospital, and the last thing I want to do is do it all over again. I don't know why I have to do it all over again. It seems so unfair, and I just want a normal life. I want to be able to go to school. I want to be able to let my hair grow back. Like, I haven't even made it a year. I made it 9 months since I rung the bell. I didn't even make it a year. And it's so sad to me. It's just unfair, and it's frustrating, and I don't know. People really don't understand how much it sucks until they have to go through it. I mean, you are stuck in a hospital all the time, and you feel awful all the time because the chemo just kills your body. And I don't want to do it again. I guess the plan moving forward is to start with chemo. Today is Friday the 13th. I already got my port inserted. I don't know if you can see. I can take my hood off so it's not pulling. I start chemo on Monday, so I have 2 days to continue my normal life until things kind of take a turn for the worst. So I'll do chemo for about 2 months, and then I'll have a bone marrow transplant, which is just not good. Basically, your white blood cell counts drop to 0, so you have nothing, and you can't go out and do anything because you're so susceptible to infection. So basically, I will be stuck in the hospital for 30 to 45 days, just trying to build my counts back up. The worst part is I'll be in the hospital in June, so I won't be able to do anything during the summer. Once I recover from the bone marrow transplant, eventually I'll be able to go home, but then I won't be able to go out or leave the house until I reach my 100-day mark, just because I'm still so immunocompromised. Eventually after that, my doctor has talked about radiation, and we've even talked about a few other treatments that might be able to help, but that's sort of the game plan for now. All of it just seems so unreal. The part that probably freaks me out the most are the odds of survival. So if you relapse within 2 years post chemo, the percentage of survival is 10%. It's definitely not a lot. So the odds are really stacked against me. I never thought this could happen. I never thought this would be anything that I would have to worry about. It's what's going on, and it's the reality of things, and that's my life right now. I feel like updating people is the best option for me because I'm gonna need all the support I can get, and I'm gonna, you know, try and fight as hard as I can, and, you know, just fight with all I've got because that's all I can do. If you've made it this far, I just want to thank you for listening and for taking the time out of your day to hear my story. I think that the only way I'm gonna get through this is if I have all the support that I can get. And for me personally, I really just want to inspire others and, you know, give others words of encouragement. I feel like it's gonna help me get through this. I did last year. I want others to know that, you know, nothing's impossible, and things can be done. And, you know, if you're going through a hard time right now, it'll get better. Like, I know it's so hard to see that, and that's what I'm struggling with right now. It's so hard for me to see everything that could be because I'm just so frazzled. And it's important to just stay positive and to just, you know, live life to the fullest. Just be grateful for every day that you have. Don't take any day for granted. Take it from someone who has their life on the line. Life is so precious. Life's too short. You know, life is meant to be celebrated. So celebrate the small things. Celebrate the big things. Celebrate the bad things, the good things. Celebrate everything. Life is so short and so precious. I just don't want anyone to take anything for granted because it could be gone in a matter of seconds. And that's why I wanted to make this video. I wanted to, you know, give an update, and I wanted to tell others and inspire others, and I wanted to tell others that life is just too short. So, you know what? It's the life we've got, and we have to make the best of it, and that's all you can do. So, that's it for me. Again, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I hope all of you guys just appreciate everything you've got, and hope you can, you know, just live life to the fullest.